Thank you very much for being here today. This is particularly thrilling for me to have been invited by Kathy Campbell to be part of this and to discover a reconnection with Bob Armstrong. And I come to you because logistics and transportation was an extremely vital part of my life as I was growing my own business. And it continues to be today as a woman who's traveling the world and a consumer of goods, that I am so appreciative of everybody in logistics, transportation, supply chain delivering to my door. So thank you for that. Next slide, please. Now, as Amra very graciously gave you an overview of my history and what brings me here and roots me into this conversation today, is I'm an entrepreneur. In my lifetime, I built a chemical company, which ended up being from a local business to a very global footprint. And that's when I became acquainted with the very loyal, dedicated, hardworking, skilled people that work within that industry, including women. Formerly, I was an advisor to the Minister of Trade in Canada and had the proud honor of a multi-year term as the chair of the Canadian Association of Importers and Exporters. But what's really most important is I'm here because of my beliefs that we should share our collective wisdom with each other, that is magnified when we come together and share it, and that it's a responsibility, not just an opportunity, but a responsibility to empower others. And I believe very much in championing the economic independence of women, because we know when we do better, everyone does better. So next slide, please. Today, I wanted to give you a very high-level explanation about the deeper meaning of Lift As You Climb and why I think that's relevant to the stakeholders of WiLAT and everybody in the associated industries. Explaining why Lift As You Climb helps you to elevate your personal and your professional success and fulfillment, and how I've developed a system to build my own success ladder and to empower others at the same time. And I want to share that with all of you. Next slide, please. Now, before we launch into too much about my presentation, I also have to say I was immediately drawn to WiLAT because of the symbolism of your logo, the wings representing women and taking flight, lifting each other up, and the fact that I've always recognized that as women, we hold up half the sky. And so it seems so very appropriate that wings would be a part of your messaging. And with that, flight and climbing have that, they have that symmetry as well. Now, it's been my experience, and perhaps yours as well, that often we think of women that are successful professionally have had to do so at the expense of sacrificing relationships and climbing over, stepping on other people to achieve a higher level. I don't believe that that is true. And part of my mission, part of what drives me, is to change the image around that we women by nature are collaborative, that we know that we rise together by sharing our collective wisdom, and we maximize the experience, the intelligence, the heart of each other when we work together, not just with women, but with everybody who comes to the table. We lead We lead by example in our lives every day. We lead when we're blazing trails for other people to follow. And as a good leader, we listen to learn from each other. We inspire. We inspire with inclusion, welcoming everyone to the table, recognizing the richness that that brings to every situation. We innovate. We use our imagination. Just because it hasn't been done like that before doesn't mean that it isn't now the best way to proceed. And I think when you bring a group of women together and a group of people supporting women, imagine how amazing that will be. We mentor. We mentor by reciprocal knowledge exchange. I know something, you know something, they know something. Exchanging it with each other generationally, geographically, career experience, everything. It's an incredible opportunity to mentor each other and to be mentored. And in WiLAT, you have all of the ingredients and the environment for that. And we build our strengths, we build our networks, and we build our opportunities for everyone. Next. So you might wonder, how did I become an expert on the topic of lift as you climb? Well, my story simply is, I was a farm girl from Western Quebec in Canada, and then I became the Phantom Lady. If you want to know more about that, you have to buy me a glass of wine or a cup of coffee. I was a high school graduate that went on to advise government and industry. I was a pregnant teen. I was a single mom who became an award-winning entrepreneur. I survived conditions in my life that made me who I am today, and I learned to thrive and build on those. I grew up on a farm, a rural childhood, and I became a global thinker. I am still and always will be a lifelong learner with an attitude of gratitude. Why do I share that with you? Because I think that every one of us is me and I am you. We all start from a different place and we choose to grow, to lift ourselves, and to take what life brings in front of us and make it into what we choose next in our life. Thank you. Next slide. So the lift as you climb model and the system that I've developed in my own life addresses your personal life, because after all, first of all, we are human beings. It takes into consideration your professional life, because whether you own a business or you're employed in a business or you're an entrepreneur within an organization, there's that aspect of your life too, which is distinct. Now, I'm here to tell you that I absolutely do not believe in an overused statement about work-life balance. And for women, particularly, that's something, it's been a standard that's been held over our heads for a long time, that to be successful, to be perfect in your personal life and your professional life, you have to act like you've got it all in balance and figured out all of the time. And that's an impossible standard to have been held to. What I do believe is that each and every one of us has only one whole life. And I do believe that with tools and strategies and a network of support, like an organization like WiLAT, that work-life blend is possible. And it's absolutely wonderful. It took me a while to figure this out. And just so you know, I'm here with you this evening, hours away from celebrating my 69th birthday. And because I'm here in Bali, Indonesia, and I was born in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, I'm not quite sure what to do with that 12-hour space where I'm in a different time zone. But I couldn't think of a better place to be, but to celebrate it with you, launching this organization that I have come to understand is going to lift so many women. And then there will be the ripple effect of how that lifts families, other individuals, and companies, and changes communities and countries. Next slide. When I applied to have this opportunity to speak with you at this launch, I submitted this deck with to your board of advisors and said, this is the handout that I'd like to offer to your membership, the participants in this meeting, as what I call the mind maps, the maps of how to create the best personal life for yourself in this particular, in this time of your life. And I'm going to explain all of that to you. But first, it made me think earlier when you were all talking about CILT and how the growth of these organizations and the support extended to establishing WiLAT in now 39 territories, is that if you don't have a map, no matter who you are, as they say, if you don't know where you're going, you won't get there. And this is why, for me, I've created a system where I can carefully map out what are the priorities, what are the next areas of focus for me in my own personal development, and what has to fall into those? What are the relationships? What are the skill sets? What is the planning involved? I'll come back and talk a little bit about this more, but first I want to give you a little bit of an overview of the structure of how I work with myself, with my clients, and with organizations using this methodology, Lift as You Climb. The next slide, please, Cherry. Thank you. Now, as I said earlier, every single one of us kind of has two areas of our lives. There's our personal life, the part that's about us and our self-care and our self-development and personal growth, but also our personal relationships and responsibilities. And then we also have a professional side, our careers, our businesses, our responsibilities in leadership in organizations like yours. The same thing applies for them. If you don't know where you're going, you won't get there. And so for me, it's all of my success, all of my opportunities for personal growth and development, and my clients, I recognize that there has to be a strategy. There has to be a map to follow, to check success, check the milestones, and to celebrate when you reach those accomplishments. And then finally, in the process that I'll share more with you, is the next slide, Cherry. After completing the first two stages of the program, then the final stage would be building your success ladder. Because I believe that success is a ladder. It's not an escalator. It's not an elevator. It's not a one-way trip. A ladder you can go up and a ladder you can go down. What is also very important for me in thinking about being my best self, becoming the best version of me, is knowing that on that ladder, I have the opportunity to reach up and someone give me a hand up, and I have the responsibility to reach back and give someone else a hand up. So that's the methodology for the Lift as You Climb process. Now, just to expand a little bit more on that, you know, fittingly for this industry, life is a journey, and personal development, professional development, likewise, is a continuous journey of expansion and growth and learning and making mistakes and replanning the route and dealing with contingencies, right? But when you're owning the choices that you have made and you make the decisions about what your priorities are, and then within that, you have a structure to look at who is important, who are the relationships that are important in your life, what are the skills that you need to acquire and nurture in your life, then it's so much easier to be able to measure your success. In our very, very busy world today, where we're connected into everything and we have the opportunity, and sometimes it is demanded of us to always being on the go, Zooming, taking messages, responding to emails, you know, in meetings, etc. It's very hard to remember how far from shore you have come in the plan that you have made for your life, and how you are moving closer to being the future self that you've chosen and that you desire to be. Always becoming the best version of yourself means continuous work, but it also means continuous development. Now, if Cherry, would you just go back for me a moment in a professional? That's a good one, because I think more specifically important here in terms of the organization, you're doing the same thing to me as you build WiLAT. It's deciding in the growth of the organization, who are the catalysts that will accelerate the growth and the success of the organization? Who fills the supporting roles in assuring the sustainability of the organization? Who are in the front row seats? And that would be the esteemed leaders, the presidents and the chairpersons of both of your organizations. A full house, in my vernacular, means inclusion. It means the diversity of individuals' experience, culture, geography, age, everything, because from all of that diversity, you have incredible richness in which to draw and create the organization. Who are the understudies? If you don't build a succession plan into an organization, it's not sustainable. And then, of course, the roadshow in this context for me is, where else are you going to take WiLAT in the world? And where else in North America will WiLAT expand? You know, will there be excitement and engagement from Mexico, United States, and Canada, from sea to shining sea, as they say? You know, I used to say when I was younger, and I was really plowing my way through my life as a woman, trying to make a career, trying to support a family, trying to make my mark in the world. My slogan then, my theme statement used to be, if it's to be, it's all up to me. But I'm really happy today to be able to say to you that I now realize if it's to be, it's all up to we. I would love to be able to give you a lot more information on how this process works, but we don't have time for that today. But I do promise that I will be around. I would love to support the women and the men of WiLAT, North America and global, to see you grow and succeed, because I believe in what you're doing, and that is providing a network, a community of like-minded people, providing opportunities for training and education and growth, and opportunities to wear beautiful purple wings and celebrate the victories and the milestones along the way. To prepare, to help get started, I'm offering some resources that I've already created and I use now with my clients, my corporate clients and my personal clients. And for anyone, you can text, if you have a US mobile number, you can text the word lift to the number 33777. Or you can go to the URL and you'll be able to register, and we'll provide you information that I certainly hope would support in helping you understand the Lift as You Climb process and to be able to build your own success ladders. Now, I've kind of accelerated. Chair, would you go back to one more, go back to the slide? No, the one with the quote. Yeah, there. I've accelerated what I was presenting, but this does leave us an opportunity. If anyone has any questions, that I'd be happy to answer now. And I'm also happy to answer them by email if you think of something as well.